roles filled. So great job, everyone, jumping in. With that, I'll turn it over to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Kimberly Baird-Cooley.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, fellow Toastmasters, as Toastmaster of the day, it's my responsibility to introduce today's speakers. And after the speeches have concluded, I'll ask for the timers report, introduce the general evaluator, ask the counter for their report, grammarian for their report, and then I'll return control of the meeting to the president before we conclude today. And I'll move on to the president for club business.
Yes, thank you. So this weekend is the Toastmasters Conference, and I believe two of our distinguished members will be speaking. You want to say what your speech is? Karen and Bill?
I'm sorry. I was asked to deliver a toast to Canada. So I'm formulating what that toast is going to include, but when we open the meeting, a Canadian member will always toast the US and a US citizen will always toast Canada.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's my official role.
And Bill, were you speaking as well?
It's Bill Liverman.
Oh, Bill
Giving
Liverman. Oh, I thought it was you.
No.
Wow.
He's giving one of the sessions on how to publish a book.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yes. But I will be there. And
Okay.
then Jelena and I, day after tomorrow, Thursday, are in the District 28, what is it, meeting? I guess you'd say, Jelena? Yeah.
Yes.
It's a little different. They're going to do it virtual, and it won't be done during the conference, so it won't bother. Because like they have that, and oh, you can come and sit there and do nothing, but what does everyone else do? Sit around and do nothing. So you know it's going. So I think it's kind of an efficient way of doing it. So that should be good.
Yep. I'm sure we'll be able to update with you guys with whatever we learn there. We'll be voting as well. Actually had someone reach out to me and say, here are my qualifications. This is why you should vote for me. So that was interesting. Um, Again, this time of year is also when we start planning for club officer elections. There are 7 officer roles for each club. This includes the president, the vice presidents of education, membership, public relations, the secretary, the treasurer, and the sergeant at arms. The club officer position starts on July 1st and goes through June of the next year. And there are 2 annual half-day officer training sessions that are hosted by the district. Again, we all help each other as much as possible. So if anyone wants to continue their role, take on a new role, we would very much encourage that. I'll put a link to the different roles. And as Karen says, we learn by doing and we keep enthusiasm by committing. So I would highly encourage everyone to consider taking a role. I think that's all I have for club business.
Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is we will look at the word of the day. And our word master for today is Toastmaster Felice Wong.
Hello, everyone. For the word of the day today, I'm going to introduce the word disparate. Disparate is an adjective. The meaning is essentially different in kind, so alike that comparison is difficult or impossible. One example, the committee was made up of disparate individuals with opposing viewpoints, but they found common ground. Disparate. I'll put this in the chat for us today.
Thank you very much. When someone uses the word of the day, we will recognize them by applauding. Next, we'll move on to our prepared speeches portion of the meeting. And our first speaker will be distinguished Toastmaster Bill Moylan, giving a speech from the Engaging Humor Pathway, the Level 1 Intro to Vocal Variety and Body Language, a 5 to 7 minute speech, and his project title is Complications in Communicating in a Foreign Land. Everyone, welcome Toastmaster Bill Moylan.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, many years ago, I was working overseas in the Middle East. And it was at a time for me of really great learning. And communicating was essential, particularly when I would travel. Now, I had been in Saudi Arabia for about 5 months, and I was able to go to Beirut, Lebanon for Christmas. Now, I have been taking Arabic for about 5 months, so I was going to use my new fun tool of Arabic. A colleague that I went with, Naji Arbid, he taught at the local Najma school, and I was an engineer in construction. So a little bit different backgrounds, but still we were friends. Now, he had many family members in Beirut. And one time I was in one hotel, he was in another, but we were all going to meet up together. So I called his sister's home. And on the phone, I asked the maid, Wainul Naji, where is Naji? She replied, Fi Mabarith. Oh, Mabarith. What does that mean? Oh, madrasa means school, Mumariyada means hospital, Mabarith must mean another place or location. So I continued, Bueno Fabiola, Bueno Madge, Bueno Ramona. Each time it was the Mabarith. I know. I'll just go to the Mabarith and I'll meet up with all my friends. So I go from the hotel, go out to the curb, flag down a taxi. He comes up and he said, in English, where would you like to go? And I said, Mabarith. And he drives off. Oh, maybe I'm not saying it correctly. I saw a policeman on the corner and I said, excuse me, sir, could you give me directions? Why, yes. Where do you want to go? And I said, Mabarith. He looked at me and turned around and walked away. And I thought, what am I doing wrong? And so I went up to someone and I said, excuse me, could you tell me what Mabarith means? And he says, oh, I don't know. Oh, he doesn't know. I went up to someone else on the street and I said, hey, do you know what Mabarith means? I don't know. Gosh, no one knows. Finally, I was back in the hotel. I called the home again, and this time I got Najee's sister, Madge, and said, Madge, your maid said you were all at the Mabarith. What does Mabarith mean? She goes, yes, I don't know. No, Mabarith. And she said, yes, I don't know. What is it? Finally it dawns on me. Who's on first? What's on second? Mabarith means I don't know. Now, later, I was traveling in Asia and I went to many of the great, exciting cities. I was in Hong Kong and I went over to Hong Kong Island from Kowloon Peninsula and walked all the way up to the top of the island and turned around and looked at the great vista of Victoria Harbor. It was breathtaking. And then a voice rang out, excuse me, young man, do you speak English? Mostly, I said. Well, can you tell me the street where they sell all the wares? And I said, oh, you mean Cat Street. Let me ask this gentleman over here. So I went up to this gentleman at his push cart and I said, Sing Hai Po Kai Chunga. And he replied, Tai Kai Pomi Rai. So I came back to the American couple. I said, now look, what you want to do is continue on the street you're on. There's going to be a Taoist temple on your left when you get to the end of this road. Bear to your right, down about a block, that's Cat Street. That's where you want to go. The woman said, "My goodness, how long have you been in China?" I said, "Well, this is my second day." "Your second day, and you know that much Chinese?" Well, let's just simply say it wasn't that remarkable. In terms of directions, I just look on behind them. There is this large billboard. All I had to do was find this smile or Chester cat face. There was Cat Street. And I just followed it, could read the map on this big billboard. Now, what did I say to the gentleman? Remember, we were in Hong Kong. I asked in Thai, "May I please have a cold beer?" And I have no idea what he said. Another point, though, when you're traveling, you gotta go shopping. And there was that time I was in Nairobi, Kenya, on safari. I shot all the animals in sight with my camera. But then the bargaining on the street hawkers. And they had these really different trinkets and trash that you could get. But there was this one thing. It was like an elephant hair bracelet. And I went up to one of the hawkers and I said, "Tafadaladia Nipungazi." Now, the tafadaladia was like the Arabic tafadal, meaning please. Nipungazi, discount. Now, there was a little bit of a disparity and disparate group because of all the different hawkers were coming up to me and wanting to bargain. And I kept just saying, "Tafadaladia Nipungazi." Oh, they would get upset. One asked me 35 shillings. And I said, "How about 40 shillings for 10? "No." Okay, went to the next one. And I'm bargaining them up and down and up and down. Finally, someone came up and tapped me on the shoulder. And I just turned around and said, "Tafadaladia Nipungazi," as the lady of the evening stomped off in disgust. So if you are going to be traveling globally, one, you need to really learn the language. Two, you know how to get directions. And three, if you're going to bargain, do it hard. Madam Toastmaster.
Oh, thanks, Bill. That was quite the treat. Our next prepared speech is by Toastmaster Dottie Hamilton, and her speech is entitled "Tick Tock, Tick Tock" for 7 minutes. Toastmaster Dottie Hamilton.
Good evening, Toastmasters. I am sharing my screen and we're going to play a little game. And it is regarding heart health. Flutter, skip, jump. What do you know about your heartbeat? And we're going to do this quickly. If you take time to study, you might study wrong. So we want you to be able to go ahead and just say what comes in the top of your mind. How many times does your heart beat a minute? And we're going to have Jelena. I thought I had reset. I am so sorry. I thought I had reset it, and it's telling the answer. On an average, a heartbeat, how many times per minute? Tell me the answer. You see it there?
60 to 100.
Yeah, 60 to 100. I had practiced, but I did not reset, it seems as if. The correct answer is 60 to 100. Your heart rates are different depending on your age, your fitness, and if you're moving or at rest. But for most people, a normal resting heartbeat is within 60 to 100 beats a minute. Okay, let's try. Kim, if your heart rate is high, your blood pressure will be also, well,
Balls.
It is false. The blood pressure is the force that your blood puts out on your artery walls and it flows through your body. Your heart rate is the number of times your heart beats in a minute. The two may rise and fall together sometimes, like when you sense danger, but it's possible for one to go up and not the other. Next question. You might need a pacemaker if your heart beats what? Bill?
I would say in a regular pattern.
If your heart beats too slow, would be the correct answer. You would need a pacemaker. Why? Because your heart beats 60 beats per minute, and if it does not, then your blood is not flowing through your body, and that will have an irregular pattern. And a pacemaker is a small battery operated device that can be put under your collarbone to help your heart beat at a normal rate.
Well, that you contradicted yourself.
I'm sorry.
You said irregular pattern is incorrect.
I am sorry.
My heartbeat is 49 a minute, and the doctor's
49,
happy with that.
49 a minute.
I
And
run.
we said at the beginning that 60 to 100 would be normal.
But
And
you said if it runs in an irregular pattern, you need it.
if you are less than 60 beats a minute, then it is too slow. And that's when you need to have a pacemaker. Now, what triggers your heartbeat? Artemis, electricity, pressure, or reflexes? What triggers your heartbeat?
I would say pressure. I don't know.
Pressure. Oh,
Ah,
the correct answer is electricity.
I
A
thought about
tiny
that.
bundle of cells called the synostral node sends out an electric signal from the top of your heart to the bottom of your heart. And this kickstarts the beat and controls the rate and the rhythm. What's that lub-dub sound of a heartbeat, Karen? Which one would you choose? That lub-dub sound of a heartbeat.
Can you read the answers to me? Because I can't see it. It's too small.
Heart valves shutting, or heart muscle hitting your sternum, or blood flowing into your chambers.
I don't really know, but I'm just going to guess number 3. Blood
Yes,
blowing in
we're
your
playing
chambers.
a game. We're guessing. Your heart valves snapping shut would be that lub-dub heartbeat. And it's like a door, your heart valve. And they open and they let blood pass through to your heart. And they close to keep it from flowing the wrong way. So the two sounds are the two valves. Closing as blood passes through your heart. That sound that you hear. Did I get someone? Let's see. Artemis, did I give you one? Okay.
Yeah.
Kim, did I give you one?
Felice
I
is
can't see.
Yes, you did.
Felice needs
Okay.
a turn.
Who did not get a turn?
I haven't get one. This is Felice.
Oh, Felice, yes, we want to give you a turn. On average, how much blood flow does your heart? On average, how much blood does your heart pump in a minute? 1.5 pints, 1.5 quarts, or 1.5 gallons?
I would think 1.5 quarts.
1.5 quarts. That's incorrect. I am sorry. 1.5 gallons. That's 2,000 gallons a day. And it says it takes about 100,000 heartbeats to pump all that through your body. By the time you're 70, your heart will have beaten more than 2.5 billion times. That's quite a bit of gallons going through your heart in a minute. Oh, what a wonderful organ we have. And your heart rate slows down when you sleep, True or false? Who wants to answer that one?
I
True.
do. I think it's true.
You think it's true. Okay. Yes, when you snooze, your body doesn't need to work as hard as it does and when you're awake. So your heart rate, beating, and blood pressure all take a dive and they go below the normal numbers when you sleep. And who's most likely to have a slower heart rate? Men or women or children? Felice, men, women, or children? Who has the most slower heart rate?
I'm guessing women.
Women. Okay. I'm sorry. On average, women's heart beat 8 times more a minute than men's do. All right. And our last one, real quickly, a heart murmur is an infection in your heart, an extra sound in your heartbeat, a device used to monitor your heartbeat. And that would be Kim.
That would be an extra sound.
An extra sound. All right, Kim. Doctors describe this sound as a whoosh between the heartbeats. They come and go, and they don't cause any problems. So, in fact, up to 90% of children have one at some point, but they also have a sign of a heart valve problem that they would need medical attention. So, an extra sound in your heartbeat is a heart murmur. I'm going to stop sharing. I did find that I could not see Jelena, and I see I have read. Thank you so much for participating.
Thank you. That was so fun and educational. Next, we'll move on to our table topics section of the meeting where we practice our extemporaneous speaking. And our table topics master for today is Toastmaster Dottie Hamilton.
Good evening, Toastmasters. And we are going to do something that has to do with time. Sunday was like new beginnings. And so here we go. I see you on my screen, and we're going to start with Kim. When was the last time you tried something new?
The last time I tried something new was the last time I tried something new. I'm really drawing a blank. I tried cleaning a different way recently. This is not the most exciting answer, but I saw this method online where you get bags or baskets, and then instead of taking things to the room where they belong, you put them in designated baskets or bags in that room so you can't really leave the area and get distracted by other things, because that's a big problem for me, is getting distracted by other things in other rooms. And I found it to be very successful because I was able to make a little pile for like, oh, this is going to the basement, this one's donate, this is garbage. And I was able to stay focused in that one room and then just move room to room. And my house got cleaned efficiently, maybe not quickly, but definitely efficiently. So that's the last time I tried something new. Thank you.
All right. I want you to know this is a way that we can express ourselves off the cuff without having to really, really think hard. So come and with the first idea that comes to your mind. What Artemis, what life lesson did you learn the hard way? What life lesson did you learn the hard way?
Well, thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters. What did I learn the hard way? I would say Um, what did I learn the hard way? I would say it would have to be learning to control my anger. I went into boot camp and I think I learned when I was in the military because, you sometimes, or in any situation, you might have a chip on your shoulder about something, but I learned throughout the years to gradually become addicted to peace and harmony. And surprisingly enough, it's very real. It can be very addictive to be pointed and aiming towards peace and harmony if you really want that badly enough. So I have learned to try to meet people where they're at instead of trying to judge. And that has really relieved a lot of anxiety and stress for me. And I can't say enough about just trying to meditate and be calm. And prayer is the most powerful thing that there is for me that I've learned. I just ask for peace and I pray for those who I'm having strife with. And you would not believe the peace that has bestowed upon me. And I think anger just is such an imbalance. It imbalances you. So I would say, yeah, um, I've learned the hard way that it really doesn't pay to be angry in the wrong circumstances. Peace. Thank you.
Your words of wisdom are what we can live by. We really appreciate it. Bill, do you ask enough questions or do you settle for what you know?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. Fellow Toastmasters, as a professor, I use the Socratic method. That's why I have a beard. Comments? You see, the trick of being the professor is knowing how to ask the right questions. You don't have to even know the answers, some very difficult ones. Disparate group of students are the best because we get a real good discussion going. One hand you have this, the other hand you have that. I always start off with like, listen, less filling, tastes great. What is it? And you simply ask questions. And this has prepared me well for one of the things I do at this point part-time, but as an expert witness. And I found that, I tend to talk a lot. And what I had to find out is you simply would answer the questions with yes or no. And it's amazing. And then be quiet. More importantly, with all these questions being thrown at you by a whole battery of disparate attorneys, could you repeat the question and have them ask again? Now, do you mean you better ask me again? Start asking questions of the attorneys. They get really upset. But the way to handle it, yes, I ask more questions because I definitely don't know it all, because my students do. Madam Topic Master.
We appreciate you for letting us know. Ask questions. You don't have to know the answers, but just ask those questions. Karen, who do you love and what are you doing about it?
Wow. My fellow Toastmasters, I imagine that I am exactly like you. Who do I love? Who do you think I love? I love my family. I love my friends. I don't love anybody else. No, just kidding. No, I love my family and my friends. And we've already heard people talk about it tonight, but I pray for them. And what I try to do, here's a little tip for people who like to pray. Once a week, I try to pray for every member of my family, even all my cousins and aunts and uncles, so that so that I don't lose track of praying for their well-being and keeping them in my heart and in the forefront of my mind, because I love them. And people, you know, people are so precious. I'm in my 60s and I'm ready to make new friends in life. But you know what? Those really true friends, oh, they're such a treasure. So the people who I love the most are my family and my friends. And the thing I do about them or do about it is I pray for them and I try to be the best relative and friend that they have.
We appreciate those words of wisdom. Felice, do you think crying is a sign of weakness or strength?
Thank you, Toastmaster Dolly Hamilton, for the question. I think crying, it is actually neither a weakness or a strength. It's just an expression. I I learned this from my daughter actually. She's 3 now. She has been crying so much the past 3 years, as any kid would do. And at the beginning, as a parent, I guess that's human tendency. When the baby cries, you come and you try to solve the problem for them. You try to calm them down and tell them, don't worry about it, and I'll fix whatever your issue is right now, and you will be happy. Try to make them happy 100% of the time. But as time goes on, I realize sometimes I just cannot fix the problem. Her toys is broken, I cannot fix it. Or when someone else, or maybe she's hurt, maybe she get a cut in her finger and it's painful, I cannot fix it. Time will heal, but I cannot. So she cries, and I gradually realize she just cries for understanding, I guess. So I try to say, yeah, I know you're hurt, you're sad, you're unhappy right now. I'm here with you. And then I let her cry a little bit, and she will move on. She always do. She always 100% of the time she will move on. And there are times that I think, oh my God, this is messed up. Like her something that she really wants and I cannot provide to her at that moment. I feel like, oh my God, this is messed up. She cries for a few minutes and then she's okay. She's like, yeah, I don't have that. She accepts the situation, and that's just her way of expression. I guess for most people, crying is attached to emotion, but the very early on purpose of crying is just expression of a feeling. Thank you.
Felice, for such a young lady, you do a lot of philosophizing. Thank you so much. Food for thought. And I believe Jelena is still needing to have a topic. What is the difference between living and existing?
Thank you for that question. What is the difference between living and existing? I think existing is doing the bare minimum. It's getting through the day. It's doing only what you need to do to continue living. So that's eating, it's going to work, it's doing whatever you need to do. But living is making the most out of every moment. It's not about waiting for something good to happen to you. It's about being able to see the good in everything that happens in the day. For me, I have started a routine for myself. I wake up in the morning and I drink my tea, and my tea bag has a little note on it that has a quote. And it is always something that just cheers me up and is just such a special part of my morning. And I love my breakfast that I make every morning. I meticulously craft it so it looks beautiful. And I just take so much joy and pleasure in my breakfast. And these are just small things that I'm doing at the beginning of the day that make my whole day a good day. And so there are just these moments I steal throughout the day that bring me so much joy that I know I am living. I know I am not just existing. So that's what it means to me.
I appreciate everyone participating in this table topics session. I turn it back over to Toastmaster of the Day, Kim Baird.
Thank you very much. Those were great questions. I will now be turning it over to the general evaluator as we move on to the evaluation portion of our meeting. And the general evaluator for today is our lovely president, Jelena Verkler.
Thank you. So I will be leading the evaluation portion of the meeting, and I have with me today some helpers. So I will first pass it over to my first helper, who will be doing the evaluation for speech number 1, and that will be Dottie Hamilton.
Thank you so much. As an evaluation of Distinguished Toastmaster Bill Moreland, it is a pleasure to be able to say a few words on what your speech was. I want to say when I first met you, I had the perception you were so serious and staid. And tonight, with the humor, I love it. You can change characters in a heartbeat. You are able to make us laugh. You carried us down that road for such a long time with everyone saying that phrase to you and what you thought. After a while, I kept saying, oh, I know what that word means. I was trying to be a detective and go along. I was living the experience with you. That is what speaking is supposed to do, draw the audience in so that we are actually following and living the experience. Vocal variety was there. You were able to have contact, eye contact, and gestures that made your audience feel as if you were living it all over again. You engaged us completely, and you persuaded us that when we go to different countries, we need to do better on understanding what the language is. And I want to say that you fully engaged us. You were able to accomplish your goal, which was the title of Language in Various Countries. I thank you kindly for being the exemplar of a distinguished Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sorry. Okay, we will now move on to our next evaluation for speech number 2, and this will be given by our TAMIS.
Oh, thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters. And, oh, my goodness. Dottie. No. First of all, I just want to say I apologize. I couldn't get the video on. I don't know if it needs updating or what have you. But Dottie, you looked fantastic. And you grabbed my attention right away. As usual, I look for 3 things in a presentation, and that is the opening, the body, and a conclusion. And the opening, was it a bang? And was the body, did it paint a picture throughout where we could, follow it? And in the conclusion, did it trigger us to grow? Your presentation was such a treat. It was well thought out and planned. your spoken language was clear and concise and easy for us to understand. Overall, you can clearly see that your asset is instruction and teaching. What I liked and really loved, and it was such a treat again, was the screen sharing. I loved the questions that you asked and the audience participation, asking each member to respond. The TikTok title, I was thinking, wonder what that could be about. So that was very interesting that and appropriate that you chose the title for that because it's about your heart, very valuable and important information. Your vocal variety added extra impact, and it's almost kind of like you can hear laughter in your voice, and it kind of cheers us up right away. You taught us something that we didn't know, and I felt like it was fun. I felt like we were actually playing Jeopardy or something. Awesome. This is an ingenious way of teaching other Toastmaster roles as well, where you ask the questions like, say, for instance, how do we do table topics? And then you do something like that, and then, call on people to ask, what do we do? So that was kind of a trigger in my mind. Hey, that's a great way of teaching other Toastmaster roles. If I could challenge you, perhaps, to ponder on how to take your presentation to the next level, I would say to make sure you check your equipment, make sure it's reset and working. The words, I kind of squinched a little trying to see them. So perhaps, make sure that everybody, even from the back, say if you're, have somebody way in the back, so they could actually see the words. And at the end, to perhaps credit your resources, I couldn't see where you got your information from. And to challenge us, to take back what was this all about and how could we move it, pay it forward. Thank you. Battle with General Evaluator.
Thank you, Artemis. And with that, we'll move on to our last evaluator, which is kind of unique to our club. And this person will be evaluating our table topics, and this will be filled by Kimberly Bearcooley.
Hi, everybody. Our table topics today were really fun. Thank you, Toastmaster Dottie, for coming up with them. You always have fun table topics. For myself, I really struggled with the question, which I shouldn't have because, should just figure it out. But I didn't come up with really a very good conclusion. So that's something that I'm going to work on. For Artemis, you had the question about a lesson you had to learn the hard way. And you talked about getting through, like letting go of anger. And you said that anger imbalances you and to seek peace and harmony, which, to echo what Dottie said, that's a really great piece of wisdom. I know that your camera wasn't able to work today, which is a bummer. So next time, hopefully we'll get that figured out. Toastmaster Bill Moylan, you had the question of if you asked enough questions. And I noticed that you used a lot of gestures in this table topic, which was nice. You did the beard thing of the Socratic method, and then you did this or that. You had good vocal variety and you made us laugh, which maybe you were on a roll because I know that your speech was from the engaging humor pathway. So good job. Toastmaster Karen Baird, you had the question of who do you love and what are you doing about it? And you said you loved your family and friends. And then you made a really funny joke about how you didn't love anybody else, and I saw everybody laugh. So good job engaging humor and connecting with the audience. And I also noticed that you had really good facial expressions that lent real sincerity to what you were saying, because we could see it on your face. So good job with that. Felice, you had the question about crying, if it was a sign of weakness or a sign of strength. And you took a unique route and said neither. It just is. It just is an expression, which I thought was really profound and wise, just like Dottie said. And I thought that this was maybe one of your best table topics because you explained your point of view and then you supported it with the example of your daughter, and how you gained wisdom through your parenting journey and how that really informed your philosophy about crying. So I thought that was really awesome. Great job. And I also noticed that you're doing really well on limiting your filler words. So good job with that. And then lastly, we had Jelena with the question about living versus existing. And you kind of defined what you thought existing and living was. We also had good facial expressions and good gestures, which is something that I noticed about like you did small things and then you kind of like mimicked your tea that you drink in the morning, which was nice. So I think we all did a really nice job today. Yeah, I guess if there's anything that we could all continue working towards is making sure that we have a strong opening and a strong conclusion, but that's just for anybody for table topics. So go us.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Now we will move on to our all-counter grammarian, which this role is filled by distinguished Toastmaster Karen Baird.
Thank you. I was carefully keeping count of the filler words, and I tried to keep count also of exceptional vocabulary and use of word of the day, but I don't think I was as accurate on that one. For filler words, Jelena, I counted 2 ums from you, and that was it. So good job. Kim, you were doing great on the ums until this very last piece where you were giving your table topics definition. Then you came up with 3 ums and a you know. Dottie, wow, you only had 1 and I noticed you used the word philosophical and you used the word of the day. So good job. Bill, I did not count any filler words at all. I noted that you used the word Socratic method, so kudos for that. And I checked you off for word of the day as well. Good job. Felice, you got no filler words. None, not even 1. Great, great job. Think of how far you've come. Good job.
I can't believe it.
Artemis, you had a lot of ahs and ums. Do you want to know how many you had?
Yeah.
I counted 23 ums and 4 you knows, 3 ands, a couple of kinda. And I noted that you did use the peace and harmony. I liked hearing that phrase from you. And I wasn't sure. I don't know if I should or should not have counted off a use of the word of the day. Did you use it?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, all right. And for myself, I didn't listen to myself when I was talking, so I didn't count anything there. Thank you. That is my report.
Great, thank you. Now we will move on to our timers report, which is filled by me today. For our prepared speeches, Bill gave his speech in 6 minutes and 54 seconds, and Dottie's speech was 8 minutes and 53 seconds. For our table topics, Kim spoke for 1:19, Artemis for 2 minutes and 9 seconds, Bill for 1 minute and 39 seconds, Karen 1:19, Felice 2 minutes and 12 seconds, and I spoke for 1 minute and 32 seconds. Moving on to the evaluations portion, Dottie spoke for 2 minutes and 12 seconds, Artemis for 3 minutes and 19 seconds, and Kim for 3 minutes and 9 seconds. So great job, everyone, keeping it within those time limits. And now I will give my general evaluation. So tonight's meeting started right on time and all our roles were filled beforehand, which I thought was very efficient. I did speak with a newer member who mentioned feeling kind of unsure about taking on new roles, like where to find the timing cards. So let's make sure that we clearly explain the responsibilities moving forward to help everyone feel more confident. Police gave us a great word of the day, and we had some strong prepared speeches. I liked that Kim confirmed the speech timing ahead of time, but in the future, let's also confirm the evaluators to make sure that everyone's on the same page. I like that Bill immediately grabbed our attention with his humor and body language. I loved the free foreign language lesson and the Abbott and Costello reference. And I like that he impressively wove the word disparate into his speech, something that he does almost every time, and it amazes me. Dottie brought great energy with the tech and interactivity, and her disparate table topics questions sparked our creativity. Everyone hit their timing marks for table topics, and like Karen mentioned, Felice has shown fantastic, amazing growth in the use of filler words. So very encouraging that we are all learning and growing here. In our evaluation portion, Dottie, Artemis, and Kim delivered thoughtful, encouraging feedback that helps wrap up a very successful meeting. So great overall meeting. Let's keep up the great work and keep supporting each other. And with that, I think we'll move on to comments and questions. Go ahead, Karen.
I want to let the members know that on May 7th, Innovative Orators is going to be having an open house where we'll have a guest speaker, Larry Castleberry. Larry Castleberry is not only a member, a Toastmaster from our district, but he's also a professional storyteller and voice actor. He's going to speak on fear of public speaking and tips for dealing with those fears. So I invite everybody to attend that meeting if you can at noon on Wednesday, May 7th.
And I can attest, having joined this club, that they're a really fun group as well. Any other comments or questions? Artemis?
Oh, yes, it was just about the spring conference that's coming up this weekend. So I didn't know who had more information on it. If it would be your Karen.
As far as like location and timing, or what information are you looking
I
for?
guess the location, the times. I think it's Friday. There's a karaoke session going on, and then you could from what Karen was showing me, and I did sign up today. It's about a couple $100 for the whole thing, and then it's like $25 per session or something of that nature. So just letting people know to go to the District 28 website and kind of click under the events and see what's going on. Check it out. But I plan on attending.
Oh, great.
Oh, there's Dottie.
Yes, thank you. I have a question because this was my first time to go to the spring conference. When they say costumes, Karen, when you sent out something about beach, is that the costume wear? A beach theme I thought I saw in your communication. Is that the costume wear? Beach wear? Because I'm wondering, what is the costume?
I don't know. I'm definitely not wearing a bathing suit. I can guarantee you that.
Because when I copied
I might wear a
event,
sun hat. I might bring a sun hat, but I'm not bringing a bathing
It's
suit.
despite
Sorry.
I was gonna wear a bikini and let people suffer. My little belly button.
I printed out the Friday night and it said costumes.
It says,
And I'm trying to go correct, politically correct or whatever you want to say. And I know I'm going to be in the karaoke. So I'll just
wow.
wear casual clothes. Because I love to dress if they say costumes. I wanted to get in the spirit of things, but no one can tell me.
I'm not really, I can't answer the question, but I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with.
I have a question about when the roles get explained. Because when I signed up to be Toastmaster of the Day today, I haven't done it in a while, so I had to go on Toastmasters.com and print out this. You can't see. I had to print out a sheet. Anyway, this one says that it's basically you just like say what the structure of the meeting is. But to me, that doesn't really make a ton of sense because then, like, what if you're doing the timer and then someone's visiting and they don't know what the timer's doing until the very end? So when are we supposed to explain it? I just followed what this on this sheet, but I think I might have done it wrong.
Well, I know during the time when I was in Mississippi, they explained it through there are like three pillars of the Toastmasters meeting, the presentations and the table topics and then the evaluation team and portion. And each segment, the Toastmaster asked the timer to display and explain the roles. So it would be throughout and in the beginning so that the guests would know ahead of time what this timing displays are, what the timing displays are for. So be at least four times.
The other, Kim, if we have a lot of guests, the Toastmaster can introduce the general evaluator who introduces her team or
Yeah.
his team.
Beginning.
And then they say, could you explain like to one of, let's say we have 5 speakers. You
Okay.
take one evaluator. You don't have to have all of them. Topic master, what's table topics about? Explain how the timing works with you. But I think Artemis also makes a good point is that when they begin like speeches, table topics, evaluations, you can kind of reiterate what the timing is that you've already explained, like the green, yellow, red. So there's a bit of flexibility there. But since this club is going to have a whole lot of guests coming in, aren't we?
Mhm.
So then we better start practicing that. So.
Okay, I'll remember that for next time. Thank you.
Karen, I would like to say you look fantastic. I like your hairstyle.
Oh, thank you.
It's so sophisticated and it makes you look like a little pixie fairy.
Thank you. Soft focus helps too.
And to let you all know, I already sent this email out. I was found out, and when I tried to show the agenda, it jumps and I can't see people. So this way, I'm using the email that you all would have gotten per our schedule, and also because of some requests. Our speakers for next time are Jelena, Artemis, Brittany, and Felice. So we have 4. We have 4 more meetings left in this program year, 2 in May, 2 in June. I want to make sure everyone can speak at least once because we do have some people who are still processing their applications. We'll kind of get them in, but make sure that our members have at least one more opportunity to speak on that. Now, a question I have for my evaluator, did you receive an email with the evaluation form?
Mm-mm.
You did not. Okay.
You mean Friday's speech?
No. For my speech, now
Oh,
in Pathways, because it's been modified, it's been updated, enhanced, that even if you have a legacy path or a current path, it allows you to send, you pick which club you're going to do it in, because I'm in more than one club, and then pick the evaluation form. You fill out the form that has you can pick the evaluator, which I did with Dottie, and then it gets sent to you. So look in your email to see if it came. Karen, I know I did that with you on a previous speech. So that's something new in Pathways, which is kind of cool. and on that. And so you can kind of keep track of who have been doing what. And then when it's completed and gets sent back to you, you can upload it still to your profile and keep them there or wherever you keep them on that. But it's one of the pieces of new versions of that.
Mhm.
So anything else for the good of the order, the good of the club?
Yes, I'd like to take a picture.
Okay.
I'll wait till you click out. Oh, can you click out? You're still sharing your screen.
No, I'm done.
We don't see that.
Oh, I still see that you're sharing your screen.
No. I finished.
Oh, huh. I'm I don't know. I still see where hmm. Is it just me or
I think
Yes.
so.
oh, Lord have mercy. Let me see if I can ah right. Well, uh,
Maybe somebody else could take a picture and send it
yeah,
to you.
yeah, yeah, it'd be nice because I maybe exit full screen.
Okay, I can do it.
Yeah,
All right. Thanks, Kim.
Okay, everybody smile. Okay, we did it.
All right.
Okay, I'll call the meeting completed.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Adjourn.
Have a good
Good to
night.
see you all.